Micah just shared with me the most out-of-pocket thing maybe I've ever seen on a church. You know those church billboards where they'll post like a uplifting, inspirational message or whatever. You drive by it and you're like, oh, that's cute. Maybe I'll go to church. But then you're like, nah. Why don't you tell them what it said?
All right. It says, remember, Satan was the first to demand equal rights. Someone goes, I hate living in Texas. And someone else goes, can't tell if this is anti-equal rights or pro-Satan. And someone goes, I'm deciding this is pro-Satan.
And it was posted by
Satan.
Verified. What the fuck? You may be wondering what that little anecdote had to do with the movie that we're going to be reviewing. Nothing, as it turns out. It was just an anecdote. You're welcome. The movie that we watched this week was Eastern Promises. Did this come out in 2005? Is that right?
I thought it was 7. Let's see. 2007.
The reason, I didn't even look up the year, but the reason I knew that it was around that time is because I was just on a subreddit talking about this movie. And apparently...
You were talking about this movie?
No, the subreddit was. And apparently...
You created a subreddit.
No.
Talking about this movie.
Or, no.
I'm confused.
Okay, well, I hope you catch up, but I'm not explaining it. And it mentioned that Viggo Mortensen was nominated for Best Actor this year, I believe.
2007.
Yeah, but he lost to Daniel Day-Lewis from There Will Be Blood, and I knew that There Will Be Blood came out around 2005, 2006, 2007, one of those. So, there's another little useless fact for you.
It wasn't her haircut that did it for you?
Whose haircut?
The girl's. Anna's.
What are you talking about?
That's right. A lot of people had that haircut right around then.
Oh, gotcha. No. It was the comment in the subreddit. Anyways, this is a David Cronenberg movie. David Cronenberg is the one who directed A History of Violence, and those are the only two that I've seen from him, actually. Okay, so History of Violence came out in 2005. So this was 2 years after History of Violence. And what's it about?
History of Violence?
No. This.
Oh, this movie?
Yeah.
So, there's this woman named Anna. Is it Anna or Anna?
Anna.
Anna.
Well, I think you say Anya, right? In Russian?
In Russian, probably. But
because her dad was Russian.
Yeah. So, Anna is a midwife, and a young girl, 14, comes into the hospital. Did I say Anna is a midwife?
Yeah.
Okay. Comes into the hospital in distress, preterm labor. The young girl ends up passing away, but the baby lives, and Anna feels a certain connection to this baby, I guess.
Well, yeah.
Because Anna went through the girl's purse, found a journal. It's in Russian.
Yeah.
Anna's dad is Russian.
Right.
Has a Russian connection, and so she feels a little connection to this.
And also Anya tried to have a baby before and failed. It's mentioned pretty early on in the film.
I guess that's true.
So there's that.
So the movie is her trying to figure out what happened to this girl. The mom, the 14-year-old girl.
She gets tangled up with the, what's the organization? Something, Vugu. That was it, right? What I just said?
Mm-hmm.
I nailed it. Vor v Zakonie
is the name of the
organization. And apparently it's a real organization because people in the subreddit are telling their stories of how this one guy was like, I was on my honeymoon and there was a guy that had those tattoos on the side of the pool and no one else was around him except for his much younger girlfriend.
Oh.
Jeez. And apparently in the DVD special features, Viggo Mortensen gives an interview where he had finished shooting and he was in a cafe and he was wearing his tattoos around, right? Because he was
filming.
Yeah, he was filming. And there was a Russian couple and they were talking and he tried to listen in to see if he could pick up any words because he'd been learning a little bit of Russian. And he noticed that they just went dead quiet.
When they saw that he was listening?
Yeah. And then he said he had to get up and go over there and apologize and explain, I'm filming a movie. I'm not actually part of the whatever this is. So people take it really seriously. It's a real serious thing. The other thing that I've gleaned just from, different videos I've watched and interviews I've seen and things I've read is this was a really, really accurate depiction of how that gang works in real life. And basically everybody that played a Russian did an extremely convincing job.
Even Kirill?
Yeah, accent-wise, speaking the language-wise, it was all really good, especially Viggo Mortensen.
Yeah.
Like his portrayal of this character is always on lists of like the best fake accents in movies.
Oh.
So apparently he did a really great job. We don't have an ear for that. We just, he just sort of like, to me, just seemed like a stereotypical Russian gangster kind of scary guy. But he was good at it, for sure.
I will say, I always feel like Russian accents, when they speak English, sound so overhyped because I've never heard an actual person talk like that.
You mean exaggerated?
Okay. Yeah, that's what I meant. Exaggerated. Because I've never actually heard someone that speaks Russian as their first language and then have that accent when they speak English.
I've met some Russians. My dad's best friend was half Russian. I've met his dad, who's full on Russian, but I don't remember what his accent sounded like. I don't know.
And I think I wasn't ever really paying attention before, like I lived in Ukraine.
But also, Russia's a huge country.
That's true.
So there's going to be a lot of accents.
Anyways, so let's go through the main characters of this, and it'll kind of explain more of the movie as we do so. So there's Anna, who
is the midwife.
The midwife, who's is the main character.
Call her. Get it?
Yep.
Nice.
There's Viggo Mortensen, who plays Nikolai, and he's the driver.
For the boss's son.
Mm-hmm. So the boss is Simeon.
Okay.
I think that's how you say it. Yeah. It's Semyon.
Yeah.
And then his son is Kirill.
Yeah.
Kirill is the captain over Nikolai.
Yeah.
So Nikolai is Kirill's driver, and they hang out a lot.
So I don't know. I know a little bit more about how like the Italian-American Cosa Nostra works. I don't know if the Russian mafia is similar. Also, this takes place in London, so that could be another difference. But the way that I understand it works with the Cosa Nostra is you have your captains, and then everybody under them is a foot soldier or a soldier. But soldiers can still be what they would call like made members, which is like they've taken the oath and they've been inducted into the family, into one of the families. And then there's associates, and those guys are not made members, and those are sort of the lowest on the totem pole. I don't know exactly what Viggo is. He seems like he's made to me.
In the beginning?
Like he's a member of this group.
Yeah.
So maybe he would be a soldier instead of a...
Like he's just outside the inner circle.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like.
But and also
towing the line.
Right.
At points, I would say.
But also it could not... It might not be organized the same way. Like maybe you're out and then you're in. You're all the way in all of a sudden. Could be that way. But that's Viggo's character. So
Anna, after she finds this journal, it leads her to this restaurant, and Simeon is the owner of this restaurant, and she kind of gets tangled up with him.
Because he's got like a kindly, fatherly demeanor at the beginning.
He seems helpful and all of that.
But he also seems sketchy because he's like, you always work at Trafalgar Hospital? And she's like, yeah, good. This is good. And also she wants to get the diary translated, and he
is like, bring it here.
You bring it here instead.
And she brings a photocopy of the entire journal, and he's like, where's the original? And she's like, oh, it's at my house. And he's like, well, let's go there. Where do you live?
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, no, like, we'll just,
She wants to give it to
her uncle,
the kid. Well, she wants to give it to the daughter. Yeah. She thought it might be a nice thing to give to the daughter when she comes of age or whatever, when she's old enough to read it.
But it's like, he's nice, but anybody that is even slightly suspicious would be alert.
Right.
Red flags.
I mean,
to these things that he's saying.
Yeah. I mean, you're in kind of a dimly lit, sort of scary Russian restaurant. Not to stereotype, but I'm going to be on my guard a little bit, you know? Yeah. Also, if I were her, I probably would not be giving that girl that diary.
The daughter?
Yeah.
She doesn't know at this point
what
it says.
That's true. You find out pretty early on that this girl who gave birth was
assaulted.
right.
Essayed.
Yeah.
And that's how she
impregnated.
became pregnant.
Yeah. Freaking Mr. Bossman is being sketchy, and his son is kind of a up and also very misogynistic and
overall
aggressive towards women. And so you're totally thinking like, oh, is he responsible for this? Maybe is the son? Is Viggo somehow responsible for it? Who's responsible for it? What's going on here? So it's sort of this like, I don't know. I mean, it's just a story, right? It's a story, right? Like any other story, not like any other story, but it's an exploration a little bit into the Russian underworld. It's just kind of a thriller. Would you say this is a thriller?
I think on the edge of almost being a thriller.
Yeah. For those of you that weren't here last week, Micah has a very ridiculously rigid definition for what a thriller is, and the Venn diagram with horror and thriller in Micah's brain is a straight up circle.
No.
Yes.
Not exactly.
Basically.
I haven't seen very many horror movies, though, I would say, right?
Yeah, you haven't.
Yeah. But, like, when I think of thriller, I was telling Braden this, what was that, today or yesterday? That when I think of thriller, I think of A Quiet Place.
Yeah.
You know, that's a scary movie, but I wouldn't say that that's horror.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what's going on in there.
So this is suspenseful. I guess I don't think I would call this a thriller.
Okay. So what did you like about it?
I really enjoyed how they switched back and forth between English and Russian.
Oh.
In the middle of sentences.
Yeah, you usually hate that.
I felt like they did that really seamlessly in this movie, though.
Okay.
Did you not like it?
No, I do. I like it when they do that. I don't have a problem with that. But you usually don't like that. You usually don't like having to read the subtitles.
For some reason, it was fine, this movie.
Like in Inglourious Basterds, you didn't like it when they did that very much.
There was so much reading in that movie, though. It was like monologues.
The one thing that I've kind of noticed about David Cronenberg movies, at least this era of his movies, From a History of Violence and Eastern Promises, is the dialogue is always very, very simple.
Yeah, it is really simple.
Like there's nothing, I mean, there's subtext, I guess, to dig into sometimes, but it's not like much.
It's like in the sand, and all you have to do is pull the first layer back, and you're there.
Yeah, it's. I don't want to call it shallow because I know that he's sort of, I guess, like sort of famous for exploring the human condition and like the animal within and that kind of thing. Ergo, A History of Violence like is perfectly adaptable to that. He also did The Fly, which is another. Yeah, you would not like that, yeah. But I'm trying to think of if Eastern Promises is that too, just like the dark nature of man sort of thing. Maybe.
Kind of.
But like in this one, it seems like there is a pretty strong line drawn between the good guys and the bad guys.
Yeah.
Mostly.
For the most part.
There's one kind of exception, and we can talk about that in spoilers, but it doesn't really seem like there's a lot of gray going on with these characters.
Yeah. I would say with one character, it's, very much so, it's just, black. Between black and white, it's black.
Sure.
And then at the end of the movie, it seems like they go towards charcoal.
Oh, with that character?
And then go straight back to black.
But I know who you're talking about. Okay. And yeah, that was the one that I said was maybe an exception.
Oh, okay.
But like the rest of everybody is pretty much either a good guy or a bad guy. Like objectively, by objective standards. So even if it's not quite as nuanced in terms of like human nature as A History of Violence is, I still felt like it was pretty engaging. Like I never wanted to really look away. I wanted to see how it was all gonna end.
But it is pretty simple.
It is simple
movie. Yeah. And simple dialogue.
Yeah, it is. Viggo does a great job, right?
Yeah.
He does a really great job.
Yeah.
He should play more of these characters. It's like there's a part where he's always like sort of standing really tall and just like doing that thing where he's poking his chin out and looking down on you as a Russian guy with his little accent. And then there's a part where he threatens somebody with a hand gesture. He like makes a scissors,
like a peace sign,
like picture rock paper scissors,
yeah,
or a peace sign, and then instead of doing that like Korean, hey, flashing it up, rotate it, right?
Like the up yours.
Yeah, rotate
England.
it like the England up yours, and then
put it on either side
bend
of your voice
wrist
box.
down.
And apparently we looked, so he does that to somebody in the movie, which neither of us had ever seen that before.
Yeah.
That gesture. We looked it up and it basically means like get lost or you're dead.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can infer that based on the situation. I thought. Well,
yeah.
But it's very like
it's definitely seen as an aggressive, threatening gesture. But we both looked it up and it like I said.
And you see it and you're like, that does not look friendly.
No.
And it's kind of scary, right? So he does a great job. I mean, the boss does a great job. Everybody does a good job in this movie.
Yeah.
What's the son's name again? I keep forgetting. Kirill does a good job too. You don't like him very much, but he does a good job.
And he does a good job of making you not like him.
Yeah. So I think it's effective. And then there's a twist that happens, and I did really like the twist.
I did not see it coming.
Yeah.
Did you?
I didn't. No, I didn't.
And maybe I didn't see it coming because I felt like this was just a very simple movie. And so I didn't think there really would be a twist like that.
No, maybe. I will say, like, they don't...
There's no clues.
There are clues, I think. I think there are clues.
We'll talk about it.
And there's enough... I don't think that you would have necessarily guessed it on the first viewing, but if you were to watch it again, there are things in this movie where you're like, oh, okay, this makes more sense now that I know how it ends. Yeah, I thought it was like a decent good thriller. I kind of liked it. I didn't love it, but I kind of liked it. It is violent, though, I will say. That's another thing I'm learning about David Cronenberg, at least this era of David Cronenberg, is when it's violent, it's pretty like gross violent or
grotesque.
Not grotesque.
Gory.
It's very visceral violent. So not for kids. And then the subject matter of the whole what gets the plot kicked off and what happened to that girl, obviously not for kids. There's language, there's nudity and sex. It's a mature movie.
Yeah.
We haven't done Parents Guide in a while, so.
Yeah, I will say for the most part, I felt like the violence, you could tell it was coming.
Yeah, because Micah looked away.
Yeah. Because I looked this up, and on IMDb it said that it was very severe violence.
Yeah.
And just based off of what it said on IMDb, I was like, well, I'm guessing there's probably a lead up. And for most of it, I would say that there is.
Yeah, I don't think there's a single violent scene where there's not.
Yeah.
There was one funny... It was kind of funny. During one of the violent scenes, you could tell it was going to get really violent and really bloody. And I was just like, oh, I can just tell. And I was like, Micah, you should probably not look. And then the violent scene gets kicked off, and it lasts for like a minute or more. And I was like, at the end, it looks like it's wrapping up. And I'm like, yeah, it actually wasn't that bad. And then another little spurt of violence happens, and something extremely violent happens in that last little, in the encore, in the second wind, if you will. And I was like, oh, there it is. There, that's what I was expecting. Something like that. So that was kind of funny. But should we rate it?
Yeah.
I can't remember what I gave A History of Violence, but I think I would give this a 7. It's a 7 tattoos on the body out of 10.
Okay. I think I'm going to rate this a 6. A 6 Russian mob bosses out of 10. This movie was too violent for me. It was fine.
Yeah.
It's on the positive end.
The thing,
but I don't think I'll watch this again.
Yeah, the thing is, if I feel like watching another crime thriller, I'm not going to pick this one probably first. No. It might be... I might revisit this later and decide that I like it a lot more. But if I want to watch a crime thriller, I'm going to watch, I don't know, Goodfellas. I'm going to watch The Departed.
Peaky Blinders.
If I want to watch a character study about like the dark nature of humanity, I'm going to watch There Will Be Blood. Whatever, it's good at everything it does. It's just not the best, in my opinion.
Yeah. All right. Spoilers?
Yeah. The gray character, right?
Yeah. So the big spoiler is this girl, like we said, was essayed, and you think that it's Kirill that did it. There are certain things that are said that makes you think that it was Kirill. It turns out it was Kirill's dad, Semyon, that
and he did it
assaulted this girl.
He did it just to show his son. Sometimes you got to do this to put them in their like control them, you know.
Yeah, and then
whatever. Piece of shit.
Yeah, tried to give her pills to force an abortion.
Didn't work.
She got pregnant, and she died during childbirth.
Right.
At some point, or at the end of the movie, Kirill goes to the hospital and takes the baby because he's been told by his dad that it needs.
Because this was the twist that I didn't see coming. I could have maybe seen Simeon being the one responsible.
Mm-hmm.
The one that I didn't see coming was Viggo is a confidential informant, or not a. He's an undercover Scotland Yard officer.
Mm-hmm.
And he's definitely Russian. He's Russian from Siberia. He's got the tattoos on his body that tell his life story. But he works with Scotland Yard. That I did not see coming.
Same.
But like there were, I mean, you can sort of tell like, okay, he doesn't seem like he's as much of a
bad guy
as everybody else. But I was worried the whole time because I had seen a history of violence. I was worried the whole time that he was going to turn into just a bad guy by the end.
Yeah.
And I was really pleasantly surprised when he's actually a good guy.
A really good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not Kirill. Simeon tells him at a certain point to go and kill Anya's uncle, who speaks Russian, who translated the diary, who knows
this world.
What happened, you know?
And he knows very intimately this world.
And he says, well, we can't have him walking around, so go kill him. And instead of killing him, it's you discover later that Nikolai sent him to Edinburgh. Just get out, exile or death. And you're like, oh, okay, so this guy is not a bad guy. Not a bad guy at all, which was great. Kirill, throughout the movie, like we said, is misogynistic. He forces Nikolai to have the relations with a prostitute in front of him in just like a very gross, abusive way.
And the reasoning is, do this to prove to me that you're not gay.
And it seems like he's projecting.
Yeah.
Because he actually might be gay.
Is the rumor that goes around that Kirill had someone killed because they were spreading a rumor that he was gay.
And because he was a pedophile. The other guy. A PDF file.
Oh. The one that was killed? Oh, okay.
Which also fits with Kirill. This is where Kirill has, scores a little bit of points. Like he very much likes kids. I don't know if that's his kid.
Yeah, I think
that is his kid.
I'm assuming because the little girl says grandpa, or he says grandpa to her.
Right.
And then he calls her baby.
So he's very gentle and kind and loving with his daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And he killed that guy and called him a pedophile. And
a PDF file.
Damn it. He killed that guy and called him a PDF file. And then when he's ordered to kill the baby, he can't do it.
And he's sitting at the edge of the river just crying.
Right. And they convince him
not to.
Because Nikolai and Anya figure out what's happening, and they go to the place where Nikolai has told him is the best place to dump bodies. You know what? He told them where to dump bodies because
they would be found.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that his handler or whatever has a part at the beginning of the movie where they find the body that they dump at the beginning.
And then later on we find out that it is his handler, and his handler is like, that's really interesting way to send me a message is through a dead body or something like that.
Right. But yeah, like that's Kirill's moment of like, oh, okay, he's not completely irredeemable.
The reason that I felt like he's, bad, goes to charcoal and then, gray and then back to black is he gives the baby to Anna and then immediately he's like, all right, let's go get drunk. And that's where I'm like,
I read that as he is so relieved that he doesn't have to do this thing and he doesn't have to live with it on his conscience. And so now he just feels elated that he doesn't have to do that. And also, now he's free from his dad, because the reason that his dad ordered him to kill the baby is because there's a DNA connection between him and the girl that was, whatted and then killed. And Viggo is telling his handler, we're going to get the top guy because we have this diary, we have the kid, we can get the DNA, we can get his DNA, we can throw him in jail. We have something on him. And I can continue my long con and ascend the ranks of this organization, and then, presumably fuck everybody else over later. It does sort of end too fast, I think. What did you think?
Well, because they get the baby and then they say that they're brothers. And then and then she adopts the baby and then that's it.
Right, Anya adopts the baby, and then the last shot is Nikolai sitting in the restaurant. And it's sort of implied that he's in charge. I don't know.
In charge or second, because him and Kirill say that they're brothers,
and Kirill's going to take over the family business, and he's going to be his partner or whatever.
Yeah, I thought it was fine.
Yeah, I wonder what's going to happen. Like, is he actually going to become bad? Or
I don't see him becoming
so
bad.
He's eventually going to betray Kirill. Yeah. Okay.
Is what I got from it.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's Eastern Promises. Do you have anything else that you want to talk about?
No.
Yeah, I think it's decent. I think you should watch it. But be warned, it's mature.
Yeah.
All right, Micah, you've been watching a show. It feels weird that we're breaking it up the way we are, but whatever.
What do you mean?
Because we're going to talk about 5 seasons of the show now, and then 1 season of the show some other day. I
thought we were just going to talk about season 5. I thought that's what you wanted.
Oh, I figured we'd talk about the whole...
Oh, okay.
Seasons 1 through 5, because that's what you've watched.
When did I watch this?
For the first time?
2020?
You've tried twice. Yeah, that's right, because season 5, I think, was coming out in 2020, and I was watching it.
Okay.
Remember, you walked in on me watching the part where he is trying to save his son from the landmine field.
Yeah.
And then I came home one day and you were watching the show.
Really? That's what happened?
Yeah. And I was like, oh.
Every once in a while, I don't like violent shows for the most part, but every once in a while I'll just get in a weird mood and I'll just binge an entire thing. Remember when I watched Bad Boys?
Yeah, that was weird. That was really weird. Those movies are not good. I'm sorry.
No, but I don't know. It was when Braden was in college and he worked late at night. It
was my college days.
But you worked late at night and I had nothing to do or something, so I just watched what was it? Were there 2 or were there 3?
You've only seen the first 2.
Are there 3 though, or are there 4? Bad Boys.
You know what? There might be 4.
I think there might be 4
because there's Bad Boys for Life.
Well, there's Bad Boys, Bad Boys 2, Bad Boys
for Life, and I'm pretty sure Bad Boys 4 came out last year.
I think you're right. So I think I only watched the first 2, and I always joked that I was going to watch the third one.
And from what I've heard, Bad Boys 4 is actually kind of good.
Oh, really?
It's a pretty good action movie. From what I saw of the first Bad Boys, it's not a good action movie. It's just I'm watching it and I'm like, this is fucking dumb. Anyway.
Okay, the show is Peaky Blinders.
Oh, yeah, we haven't even said.
I tried to say it 5 minutes ago. And you kept cutting me off.
Why didn't you just say?
But I've just been kind of binging it.
Yeah.
And I just finished season 5 tonight.
Yeah. What'd you think of the end of season 5?
So there's going to be... Let me just give if you don't know what the show is, I'm just going to give a really quick synopsis of what the show is about, and then the rest of this will contain spoilers. Okay. So this is about a family. What's her? Oh, Shelby family. So the main people are Tommy, who's the head of the family, not the oldest, but he's in charge of
He's not the eldest boy.
He's not the eldest boy. There's Arthur, who is the eldest boy.
Yeah.
John, and their youngest brother, Finn. So they're all siblings. And then there's Polly, who's their aunt.
Right.
And they are this small...
street gang.
Yeah, in Birmingham, England.
After the First World War.
Yeah.
Right after the First World War.
And so, petty crime in the beginning. The name of their family, or their gang, is the Peaky Blinders. And what they're known for is their... what's that cap called?
Newsboy. They wear newsboy caps and they sew razor blades into the newsboy cap, so they always have a weapon.
Yeah, and that's how they attack people.
Sometimes they use guns.
Sure, but that's what they're known for, is cutting people.
Right.
With that.
But Tommy, here's the twist. Tommy is a smart cookie, and he has aspirations
for the family.
He is a businessman, and he wants to make his business successful. And he is just the puppet master pulling all the strings, but not really though, because
he's not perfect.
His gang is small at first, and they are up against bigger and better odds, and this show is about sort of their rise to power. Not real, by the way. This never happened, by the way. But it's a crime drama where you follow this very morally gray family as they ascend in power, and yeah, that's what it is.
Okay, so the rest of this will contain spoilers.
Right.
Just a heads up.
Yeah.
So I just finished season 5. Season 5 was pretty crazy.
The ending is insane.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the last episode of season 5, the fascists are coming around, so it's like leading up
to World War II.
And Oswald Mosley
who was a real guy,
trying to start a fascist
party in Britain.
Yeah, party in Britain.
Which he did.
And Tommy has now is a member of parliament.
Yeah.
And is in charge of the Labour Party, I think.
I thought he was a communist.
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
He gave up communism.
Well, I thought he joined the Communist Party in Britain.
Again? Because he did before the First World War.
Okay, anyway, Labour.
I'm pretty sure it was Labour.
Isn't Labour conservative?
I'm pretty sure it was Labour.
Okay. All right.
I could be wrong, but I thought
you watched it more recently, so.
And Mosley has asked him to jump ship from Labour and join fascism.
Which, don't we all, right?
And the last episode is Tommy has this whole plan where he's going to have Mosley assassinated.
Which I remember watching that and I was hyped.
Yeah.
Because he was like, he was like, I did have more elaborate plans for Mr. Mosley, but he spoke poorly to my wife. And then that's it. And then they start playing Black Sabbath in that scene, and I'm like, okay. Because Peaky Blinders, if they're good at one thing, they're good at ending a season.
Well, and music score.
Yeah. And that moment is just like, yes.
Yeah.
Because he's breaking out an old war buddy who's a sniper.
That was so funny to me, because he goes and visits his war buddy, his comrade.
Who's in a psych ward now.
Yeah. They're sitting in this room with bars in between them, and the guy's in a padded room and Tommy's on the other side, and Tommy's like, I'm going to break you out on Wednesday. And his friend Barney is like, I don't keep track of the days. And Tommy goes, you'll know it's Wednesday when there's a big bang. And then stuff goes on, and then we cut to Barney, and there's a big bang, and he just has this shit-eating grin on his face, and he goes, it's fucking Wednesday. It just made me laugh.
Also, fun fact, Barney is played by Cosmo Jarvis, who was the main character in Shogun.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah, fun fact.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so Barney is supposed to assassinate Mosley, and he's sitting up in the light room, basically, like where a projectionist would sit. And he gets the signal that he's supposed to count to 10 before he pulls the trigger, and right before he pulls the trigger, he gets killed.
Yeah.
And I was sad.
Were you sad when Abracadabra Gold
Yes, died? I was also sad. And that was the way that he died. He just got stabbed a million times.
Sucked. So as he was about to freaking kill...
Yeah.
Because his son was killed by this Scottish...
gang, the Billy Boys.
Yeah. It was killed by the Billy Boys, and in a very mean way. They crucify him. Not with nails, but...
Is that technically crucifixion, though?
Yeah. Because
he was...
The Romans would do that. They would tie you, and sometimes they would nail you.
Right, but he didn't die because of that. They shot him.
They shot him, but they did put him up on a cross, and then... So just, nasty.
Well,
and he's sworn vengeance on this asshole for the whole season, and you think he's finally going to get it, and he's this cool, gypsy, scary, man of business, where he stands on business.
He stands on business.
And he had a garrote, all Hitman style, Agent 47, and he should have hired Agent 47 because Agent 47 would have seen that knife guy coming. But he's about to get Billy. No, his name isn't Billy, is it? Jimmy McCavern, who's the leader of the Billy Boys. He's about to get him, and then he just gets stabbed.
Yeah.
A bunch of times and dies. Sucks. And he was engaged to Polly.
Which was so sad.
Yeah.
And I hated that they killed her.
Who?
Polly.
You don't know that yet.
I started season 6.
But do you know why? Her actress died in real life.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, well now I feel like a dick.
Her actress had cancer. They had to.
That's sad. Okay.
So
I'll allow it then.
Yeah. The one thing so I made a video on this channel about Yellowstone and how much I hate Yellowstone. One of the things that I talked about was Yellowstone never has the balls to kill off any of its main characters ever, except for apparently at the end where they kill Jamie, the guy that they've been trying to get you to hate for the entire show. But
it only happens in the last episode when the show's over.
But I still hate Beth more. I hate that show. Anyways, I used Peaky Blinders as a foil to it because John ends up getting... So John makes a big mistake in season 3 that leads to his death in season 4. And then they kill Polly, right? And then they kill... That's really it.
Mm-hmm.
But I was sort of watching you watch this show and evaluating, like, was I right about that? Or does Peaky Blinders kind of do the same thing where they keep everybody alive? And they don't do it to the same extent, but they still kind of do it in this show.
It's still a TV show.
Yeah.
But John dies.
And that's a big one.
Yeah.
And Polly dies. They were kind of forced into that, but that's a big one.
Yeah.
But there is definitely a bait and switch going on with Arthur in season 4, right?
Yeah. I think it was season 4. Yeah, because you think that Arthur died? I straight up thought that he died.
Yeah.
You never told me that he didn't die or that he did die. I had no idea that even happened.
In that season, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you right now, I wish that he had, honestly.
Because you don't like the way that his character
was handled, yeah.
After that.
Going forward, yeah. In season 6 in particular.
Okay.
But yeah, you keep going.
Well, I was just so surprised. So he dies, and I was like, holy shit, like, what the heck?
Yeah.
I had no idea. And then luckily he comes back.
Well,
But, also at the same time, I think I would have been okay if he had died. Because they handled it really well. I will say, when he comes back to life, Finn's face is so funny.
Yeah.
It was just jaw on the floor.
Yeah.
He was so surprised.
Was it Boar on the floor?
Yeah, Boar on the floor.
It's fun. They do the same thing with Alfie. But I don't mind that as much because Alfie is, besides Tommy, my favorite character in Peaky Blinders.
Him living doesn't make any sense to me. He was shot in the face.
Right. Well, I mean, you can be shot in the face and not die if it doesn't hit your spine or your brain. Then you're okay. You can be okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is what happened to him. I think it just went through his cheek, and you see it if you ever go back and watch the part where he gets shot.
There's an exit wound.
You see the entry wound, and it's on his cheek.
Yeah. So, I just assumed that it went straight through his head.
So he did, yeah. Anyways. Well, where was I going with that?
John dying. Arthur didn't die.
And yeah, so season 4 would have been a perfect opportunity to, for Peaky Blinders to pull a Game of Thrones and actually, fuck some shit up with killing some of these characters, because season 4 is a vendetta. The Peaky Blinders kill this Italian crime boss in season 3, and then his son comes over from America in season 4 with all his mafia friends and a bunch of Sicilian mafia friends, and they're there for one reason and one reason only: killing Peaky Blinders. So it would have been a perfect opportunity to scratch Polly off the list, or scratch, they did scratch John off the list, scratch Arthur off the list. I almost feel like I wish they'd done that. But
I liked the way that they handled that at the end. Because Changreta has outmaneuvered Tommy, is what it seems like, right? And they have this meeting where Changreta has seemingly put Tommy in a position where Tommy is forced to sign over all of his companies to Changreta.
Yeah.
And Changreta has this whole speech, and he's such a dick, and he throws all the papers on the ground, and he says, "Get on your knees and sign these papers, bitch," basically. Yeah. And then Tommy gets down on the ground, and he goes, "You know what? All of your family that you brought over is dead.
Yeah.
And all of these people that you brought with you are hired hands. And you know
and he
what
said,
they do?"
Because Alfie, earlier in the season, Alfie's like, big small.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, a friend told me, big small. So I had to find someone bigger than you.
So he outpays Changreta, right? He goes to America.
He talks to Al Capone.
Sure. But basically, he pays these guys more money.
Yeah.
So that they'll be on his side.
So they turn.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was good.
Yeah.
It's good. I've heard people complain about it.
No, I liked that.
I thought, okay, it is weird that Changreta doesn't want to kill Tommy still. Because that was the whole purpose of coming over, right? It's a blood feud.
Yeah, but I think he realized
it's just costing too much.
Yeah, just let me take all your shit and be done with you.
Yeah, maybe. That never works, though. Alfie tried to do it in season 2.
Yeah.
Didn't work. Greta tries to do it in season 4.
That episode where Alfie and Tommy aren't friends yet, and Tommy comes in for some reason, and he ties his shoe.
Yeah.
In the factory.
In the Brum storage area.
And is telling him that he put a hand grenade in there.
Yeah.
So funny. Alfie, he tied his shoe.
He's Tommy Shelby.
He tied his shoe.
I did tie my shoe. Right, I want you to go outside and shoot that boy in the face from the Nice Family.
From the Nice Family.
Okay, so say what you will about Peaky Blinders. Call it sloppy, whatever. I don't care. I still really like it.
It's funny.
It's fun. It's shot so well.
Yeah. It's a vibe.
It looks amazing.
They make filthy ghetto
Birmingham
look like London. A vibe.
Yeah. And the music choices are on point.
Amazing.
And the freaking some of these characters, if you don't like the show, you can't deny that Tommy Shelby is a TV legend character.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah.
You can't deny that Alfie Solomons is a TV legend character at this point. Probably those are the only two that you can't really debate. And then, I could see the argument being made for Arthur, maybe, and maybe Polly. Personally, I don't really agree with the Polly one.
Well, I will say after the first season, when she cuts her hair, she looks a lot better.
Okay, it was the hair that made her not a legend, and now she is she has legendary hair. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I mean, what else? I mean, we've got 4 seasons of stuff to talk about, don't we? How about this? Who's your favorite villain? Rank all the villains of each season.
Let's see who they are.
I'll tell you. I remember.
Oh, okay.
We've got Billy Kimber. I am Billy Kimber. I run the races, and you fix one of them, so I'm going to have you shot against a post.
Okay? That was really good.
And we've got Inspector Campbell. I serve my country every day. Okay?
I had no idea you were this good.
And there's Inspector Campbell.
He's the worst. Campbell, I hate. He's at the bottom.
In season 2, I'm saying your favorite, the best villains.
Campbell, I hate.
Okay. Season 2, we have Darby Sabini, who is I'm just here to say I'm sorry for the Jew stuff. The Jew thing. Okay?
Okay.
We've got him. Alfie? Do you want to count him as a villain?
He is a villain at some point.
Right. So then Alfie. You got Alfie Solomons as a villain. That's not fair, though, because he's going to win.
Shalom.
Shalom. Arthur Shalom.
When Arthur says that to him the first time.
Shalom.
Alfie's like, what? What?
But that's not fair. Alfie's going to win.
Okay,
obviously.
sure. Alfie's going to win.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Honorary member, he wins.
Season 3, the main villain is the priest.
Oh.
The priest, yeah. He's just Irish, right? He's Paddy Constantine.
Uh-huh.
I am Irish. I am Paddy Constantine. That was awful.
That was not good.
Yeah. Okay. Season 4, Luca Changreta.
He was really good.
Okay. Season 5, Oswald Mosley.
Okay, so based off of accents,
Okay.
Billy Kimber.
Your favorite? No way. Oh, I am Billy Kimber.
He's got a swagger, you know?
All right.
But his accent, love it. Okay. Best villain, I think, is Luca Changretta.
He's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He also has the most time besides Campbell, I would say.
Yeah.
To be a villain, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
But Campbell is such a slime. I think I hate him the most.
Okay.
And I hate to say that because of how nasty the priest is.
Oh yeah, the priest is bad.
But like Campbell at the bottom, and then the priest just barely a smidge above him.
Okay. And then where's Billy Kimber? Right above them?
Yeah.
Where's above Sabini or below Sabini?
Above Sabini.
Okay, so Sabini next.
Yeah.
And then Kimber. And then what about Mosley and
Mosley? He does a really good job of just being a bad guy.
I think he's great.
Yeah, and just manipulating people, and just you can tell that he's like 2 steps ahead, like 2 chess moves ahead. I feel like
he's Tommy's equal.
Yeah.
Right? The first time that Tommy has had an equal, really, in terms of intelligence and planning and scheming and just saying one thing and meaning another. None of these other villains are really all that subtle, right?
No.
But
Mosley, you can tell,
Mosley has subtlety. Yeah.
Contingencies.
Yeah. Yeah. I like Mosley. Mosley's in the next season too. Not as much though. You'll find out.
Really?
You'll find out. Yeah.
So yeah.
So then Changretta first.
Yeah, Changretta first, I think.
Yeah. I've heard people complain about Changretta too because they think he's just doing The Godfather. But I don't. I thought he was really charismatic and really kind of scary. And that scene where he's talking to Polly in the bar is one of my favorite scenes in the whole series. Where he's like, "What do you say? You want to dance?" And she's like, "I don't dance anymore." And then she gets up and he's like, "That's a shame, because you're dancing with me." I love that scene. And like the music is sort of swelling, and then he's got a lot of moments where he's just a kind of a badass, and I really like him.
That surprised me though. That Polly went and made a deal. I could see, she's making a deal to save her son. She's giving up Tommy. Okay. But then Changretta goes to the hospital to kill Michael and says, "I spared you. Tell your mom I spared you."
Yeah.
Or something like that. And then Michael doesn't tell Tommy. And that was more surprising to me.
Well, Polly didn't actually betray Tommy.
I know.
Yeah.
But you think that she did.
Right.
Until the end when it's all settled or whatever. And Tommy doesn't get mad at Michael right away. He holds on to it.
Yeah.
Which was crazy.
Yeah, and then in season 5, Michael gets shipped off to America, loses all the money in the stock market crash, and then he just gets treated like dirt after he comes back, which he deserves. Yeah, and then he has the balls to propose a restructuring of the leadership of the company.
Yeah,
dude, you lost all the money in New York. You have proved yourself. You've done all to prove yourself, really. You killed the priest in season 3, but then you went and lost the family pretty much all their...
They said it was £500,000.
Oh, that he lost?
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually not too bad.
But back then, let's see.
But I thought they had like millions at that point.
That is the equivalent of like 40 million is what he lost.
Wow.
Well, and it's so stupid because they make comments that Tommy had told him to get out of the stock market, and he didn't.
And he's like, "Why doesn't anyone fucking listen to me?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's like the whole season. He's just getting mad at people not listening to him.
Yeah. Gotta love it.
Yeah.
But like, also there are just some solid gold scenes in this show, and it boils down to, like, sometimes the writing is fine, sometimes the writing is like tip top. Like, whenever Alfie and Tommy are in a room and talking to each other, it's almost never a direct conversation, but it's brilliant. And you know exactly, what they're talking about. Like, bread. Would you like to try the bread? It's rum, right?
It's the brown bread or the white bread.
And I loved the first time they met, and he's like, let's say that I shot you in the face. I shot you right in the f***ing face, and the bullet goes skull, brain, or skull, mush, skull, cabinet. Now that cabinet's f***ed and I've got to be shot of it. So what am I gonna do? This is what I do. I cut the cabinet in half, right? I cut the cabinet in half, and I send one half to Mandalay, and I send the other half to Timbuktu. You ever been? Would you like to go? And he's not talking about ruining a cabinet. He's talking about, I'm going to kill you and cut you in half and put you in 2 barrels and send 1 barrel to Timbuktu, and you're going to go to Timbuktu. Fine, you want to go to Timbuktu? And, like, that's how they make threats,
Yeah.
In Yellowstone, they make threats like, Beth says, I'm going to cut your dick off, and then I'm going to use that dick to smack you across the face with it as I crucify you on our family land. And we're supposed to be like, oh, wow, what a badass line. That's not a badass line. What Alfie said, that's a badass line, right?
When Alfie gets shot in the face and then you find out that he's fine, and then and then Tommy's like, or Alfie goes, were you surprised that I'm alive? And Tommy goes, you wrote me a letter. And
Did I?
And Alfie goes, I did?
Oh, I was on a lot of drugs at first.
Yeah, you asked me how your dog was.
What, because on account of being shot in the face by some
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just great. And then there's so many scenes like that.
Yeah. I just had an epiphany. I've been so annoyed by Michael recently, and I just realized the Shelby family, there's a hierarchy.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody knows that Tommy's in charge. Arthur is technically second in command, but it's really Polly that's second in command.
Yeah.
She's, 1A of in charge, right?
Yeah, she's 2. Let's be real.
Sure.
Yeah.
At times. In the beginning, I would say she's 1A. And then she goes down to 2.
Yeah.
And then at times goes back up to 1A, but is really number 2, right? Yeah. There's a hierarchy of this family. And then Michael comes in, and he's 17, and he's happy to find his mom, and he's happy to be a part of this family that he feels like he fits into more than his adoptive family. At some point, he gets a little bit big for his britches.
Yeah.
And he loses all this money in America. He is whatever. And it probably is because he didn't grow up with this life.
He doesn't know the chain of command.
As well.
And he wasn't a soldier.
That too.
They all get, the brothers get it because they were soldiers, except for Finn. But he's not. He doesn't get it.
Yeah. So, as much as I'm annoyed by Michael and how dumb he is, it makes sense in a few different ways.
Yeah.
But yeah.
There's another Alfie scene that I had in my mind. I don't remember. Oh yeah. I love the in season 3 when Tommy brings him to his big old house, and he's like, word is on the street you can be seen stark naked in the streets of Birmingham, uttering curses and gypsy things. Also, the rumor is you believe that you've become powerful enough to summon up Jews. Because he called him to meet with him, right? Just the way that Alfie tells his little stories in a very roundabout sort of way, and like.
And Tommy just goes, well, you're here, aren't you?
And Tommy knows. Tommy gets it. He's just as smart. And then the whole like glasses thing.
Yeah.
Where he's like, Tommy mentions needing glasses now because he got attacked, and Alfie uses that as an opportunity to like take his glasses out and make a whole fucking cryptic song and dance about telling Tommy another thing. It's almost like he's testing people. He's like, if you can understand what I'm really saying, then I'll respect you. But I love his character. He's just great. So entertaining.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we should probably rate it, right? You should probably rate it.
Well, one last Alfie scene. I really like it when Alfie's standing on the beach with his dog and Tommy's come to kill him. And Alfie's going on with this monologue and he's like, just kill me already.
Yeah.
And then he keeps talking and he keeps talking. Are you going to kill me already?
Yeah.
Then he keeps talking and he's talking. And Tommy the whole time is standing there with his gun out, ready to kill him. But he hasn't done it yet. Probably because, they're friends.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want to kill Alfie, even though Alfie betrayed him.
Yeah.
And then finally, Alfie quick draws on Tommy.
Because of course he does.
Because what else is he gonna do? Tommy's taking too long to kill him.
Like, I'm not totally sure that Alfie is really cut out to be a mob boss, but he's totally cut out to be like an underboss.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's extremely crafty.
Yeah.
It just seems like he can never get his organization over the hump, right?
Yeah.
But he's really great at stealing a scene. We'll give him that.
Yeah. It just made me laugh because he's like, yada yada, are you gonna kill me? Yada yada yada. Yeah. Quick draws.
Yeah. That's great.
So
rank it season by season. Do you want to do that?
I don't think I can.
You can't remember?
No.
Okay. So seasons 1 through 5 then.
Okay. So far, just, seasons 1 through 5, I'm gonna rate a 9.5. What's that haircut called?
Oh, I have no idea.
Peaky Blinders haircut.
Okay. I saw this meme and it was like, I can't remember if he hated it or loved it, but he was a barber and he was like,
hated it.
He hated it. I hated it. How many people came in to the office and wanted a Peaky Blinders haircut and then got mad because they realized it looked stupid. It's so funny.
It really, on everybody except for them.
Yeah, for some reason. It doesn't look good on anybody else.
And even Finn, at points, it doesn't look good.
Right.
Have you seen that thing where it's like nobody knew who Cillian Murphy was and everyone's like, why is everybody obsessed with Cillian Murphy and saying that he's hot? He just looks like whatever. And then they pull up pictures of Tommy Shelby.
Yeah.
And just drooling.
It's the clothes and the Birmingham and the
vibe,
the voice and all that. Yeah. Okay. So 9.5. What's your favorite season?
What was season 1 about?
Billy Kimber and the guns and Grace burying the guns.
I was sad that Grace died.
Yeah.
And I was sad that they were only married for an episode and a half.
Yeah.
I really liked the wedding episode though. No fighting.
Oh yeah. That's where you stopped watching it last time.
Really?
Because of Arthur killing the Russian.
Oh.
And you were like, it's too much.
Yeah, this show gave me nightmares the first time I watched it.
Yeah. But that's because she hadn't seen Game of Thrones yet.
Yeah.
But you haven't seen the violent parts, really, of Game of Thrones, but...
Because I closed my eyes?
You closed your eyes.
Yeah.
But maybe it was that part in House of the Dragon where it jump scares to a girl in a prostitute brothel. Just full on...
Yeah, they just yank the curtain back and she's just full on going at it on some guy's Johnson. Like, oh my god!
Maybe that jump scare prepared you for Peaky Blinders.
Even though nudity and sex isn't...
It's somewhat prominent.
No, isn't an issue for me. It's violence.
Yeah. Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
And then season 2, what's that one about?
That one is the London Boys. That's Alfie and Sabini and Tommy moving into London.
I liked that one. So I think season 2 and then season 1.
And season 3 is the Russians and the priest.
And then I think 4 and then 3.
Wait, season 2 is your favorite?
So I think 2, 1, 4, 3.
What about 5?
Is that what I just finished?
Yeah.
Oh. What was season 4?
It was Changreta.
Oh.
The Vendetta.
So maybe 2, 4, 1, 3, 5.
5's your least.
Oh no. 2.
Changreta.
Oh shit. Maybe it's 4.
Mm-hmm.
2, 5, 1, 3.
What you should be getting from this is at least the first 5 seasons are as good as each other, basically.
Yeah.
I think that's fair
I
to
think
say.
so too.
I do kind of hate season 6.
Really?
Which really sucks, but...
Well, I'm disappointed to hear that the fascist guy, Finnick Odair, is not in it more.
Well, he's in it. He is in it.
Sure, but does he die?
I'm not going to spoil that.
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to tell you. There's just another villain now, too.
Oh.
Yeah.
It was just going to be so satisfying, the end of the season.
I know.
I know. Mosley to just die.
Yeah.
Because they have this whole thing with breaking out the crazy guy, and then, everyone's like, he's psycho, he broke Charlie's leg, 3 people are holding him down, and then the entire family has to go and help because he's just gone crazy, and then...
Barney?
Yeah, Barney.
Okay. And
then they see him shoot, and his hands are all shaky as he's putting the bullet into the rifle, and shoots completely straight.
Yeah.
And then he dies.
Yeah.
It was sad.
But you get why they did it, though, because, Oswald is supposed to be Tommy's, the one he's finally has met his match. And
except that it was the IRA.
And he's the one that finally doesn't get killed at the end of the season, right? I guess Campbell, didn't get killed, but Billy Kimber was kind of the main villain of the first season.
Yeah.
With Campbell as a sub, a B plot villain. I think Campbell becomes the A plot villain in season 2, kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a good show.
Yeah.
I think it's a good show. Micah thinks it's a good show.
Yeah.
We'll see if she likes season 6 or not. We'll see.
We'll see.
All right.
We still have to finish that movie.
The Apprentice.
The Apprentice.
Yeah.
It's just kind of been. I have no interest in it so far.
I mean, it would have been more interesting a year ago, maybe.
Yeah.
When the election was happening, but now.
So we'll see if we finish it. Potentially, I'll be done with season 6 of Peaky Blinders.
I'll be done with season 1 of Andor, for sure. On to season 2.
Okay. So that's what we have coming up. Have a great week. Bye.